we're having tea and coffee here, but New Zealand has a special kind of coffee called the flat white. It's a bit like a latte, but has a slightly stronger coffee taste. It's like a latte, and it's a combination of espresso and frothy milk. But you can buy it in Seoul at certain cafes in the centre of Seoul, I think Coffee Bean. And New Zealanders love it, the flat white. The indigenous people in New Zealand are called the Maori, and they were there 800 years ago or longer. And they have a very proud and deep culture. Probably the most famous part of Maori culture is the haka. Many people know the haka. It's like the kamate, kaora, kaora. That kind of very famous war dance. It was traditionally a sort of dance, but it was a challenge and often performed to an enemy before a battle to say, we're strong. And it's quite scary. It's designed to intimidate the other side. And nowadays, the most famous example is the All Blacks, the New Zealand rugby team. They always do the haka before a rugby match, designed to show strength and character. All schools, I think now in New Zealand, teach Maori language, and everyone knows the haka. It's very important. I agree, and so New Zealand as the country, increasingly trying to reflect some of those Maori values in our own policies. So, for example, climate change is a very, very important challenge for all of us. And our government believes very strongly that New Zealand has to commit with other countries to doing something about the planet for the same reason the Maori people care about the river. We can't just treat the environment as a functional thing to be used for human beings, because we have an interactive relationship with it. We have to look after the planet, and the planet looks after us. So climate change is very important, and keeping our water clean, keeping our air clean, keeping our people healthy. These are really important values. So we have big trees called the kauri tree, which are some of the world's largest and oldest trees. And they all have names, of the big ones. So, and the Maori give them names, and they respect the tree as a bit like an ancestor, because it's an important part of the landscape. So you respect the things that nature is giving us and the relationship we have with our surroundings. Very important. Typically, tourists arrive first in Auckland, the biggest city, and the first thing they will see is the Sky Tower, which is a big tower in the middle of the city. That's a very, very nice place to go to see the whole city. I talked about Te Puia, which is in Rotorua, where there's a big centre of geothermal activity, like geysers, boiling mud, natural hot water, hot springs. No, it's about three hours from Auckland. There's another place south of Auckland called Waitomo Caves, which is a big underground cave. You go and you walk and you go on a boat on the water, and it looks like stars above you. It's beautiful. So Hobbiton, New Zealand is famous for the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbits. So there are many places in New Zealand where you can see where they filmed particular scenes for the movies, 1 hour from Auckland. There are 2 very famous glaciers. The tallest mountain is 3,000 metres, or a bit more. Fjords are similar, and there are very beautiful fjords. The most famous one is called Milford Sound. The top is 5,000 feet. It's amazing. Amazing. Yeah. And Queenstown is the most beautiful city, surrounded by mountains and on a lake. Very beautiful. New Zealanders love beaches. There are lots and lots of beautiful beaches with almost no one there. Like nearly everywhere. Fishing, diving, water sports, jet boating, water skiing, plus paragliding, yeah, paragliding. So New Zealanders love adventure sports. You know bungee jumping, of course, right?
Bungee jumping.
Right. Heli skiing, when you take a helicopter to the top of the mountain, the helicopter drops you at the top of the mountain and you ski down.
Oh my God.
Tramping is just one day. It takes about 8 hours, and you cross 3 volcanoes, 3 mountains in 8 hours. Absolutely beautiful, spectacular walk. Near Auckland is an island called Waiheke Island.
Wow.
Waiheke.
Why?
Beautiful beaches. It has wine, like grapes. It makes wine. There are olive groves, so you can make your own olive oil. And it's a beautiful place for swimming, for water sports, for tasting wine, and beautiful restaurants. So there's a lot of stuff going on between Korea and New Zealand and culture as well. Just last week, we had New Zealand artists participating in the Gwangju Biennale and also the Seoul Biennale. We've had a dance troupe called the Atamira Dance Group visit Korea recently. And we have a lot of students from Korea studying in New Zealand. We talked earlier about how New Zealand is one of the best places in the world to get a good education. So there's a lot going on. It's a wonderful country to come and see, and I hope lots of Koreans will have the opportunity to come and see, to visit, to study, or even to immigrate there. So thank you very much, and 감사합니다.